All right. Everyone can hear me? Perfect. So while people are wandering down, after admiring the views off the rock, welcome to United Astronomy Clubs of New Jersey. We are welcome for everyone who's here and welcome for everyone joining us online because that's right, we are live streaming this presentation on YouTube and Twitch. So if you ever can't make it or you're looking for something to do on a rainy Saturday night, you can always join us in the chat room online. In addition, you can check us out on our website, uacnj.org. It's where you're going to find a list of all of our upcoming talks, as well as information on all of our member clubs, because we are actually a club made up of other clubs with a joint goal of trying to get astronomy and the love of science out to as many people as we can. In addition, you can check us out on our social media pages. We have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have a Discord channel you can join. Pop any questions about telescope setups or share your astrophotography in there. I always love to see those comments. So, for the people who are here, a bit of a safety briefing before we get into tonight. When we are leaving, we are going to be using our headlights because I don't want to get run over. I am sure you feel the same way. So headlights on so we can avoid that sort of paperwork. In addition, if you need to use the restroom, that is the porta potty in the back to my left, your right. It Once it gets darker, it'll be illuminated by a red light. Makes it kind of more obvious. In addition, we do have a little museum and gift shop area. Unfortunately, I still don't have the technology to be in two places at once, so I'll be manning that after the talk. And once they give me the technology to be in two places at once, watch out, I'm going to take over everything. Not really. That sounds like too much effort. um, so hopefully we'll have a good night where we'll get some holes in the clouds. But tonight you're here for tonight's talk, which is What's Up in the June Sky. It's a reoccurring talk that's done on the first Saturday of every month, given by Lonny Buinis. Lonny has been given the What's Up in the Sky series since UACNJ opened in 1994. Been an avid amateur astronomer since very early in life. Holds 2 degrees from Stevens Institute of Technology in physics and computer science, and also has gone on self-learning exercises, doing space art, space animation, and virtual reality objects. He made a book narrated by his wife, Jan. Uh, Best thing he ever did was marry Jan. We love her. Eventually, we'll see her again here, occasionally. And sorry, I took Benadryl, so my brain just kind of like flatlined there, fighting off the Benadryl coma. With that, give you Lonny because he can take over from here.
Thank you very much, Kim. It's great to be here, and programs like this would not be possible without Kim and other volunteers working behind the scenes. You can meet a lot of the amateur astronomers after the talk in any one of our 6 observatories, one of which is the Lonny Buinis Observatory, so I'm very honored to have been here long enough to get that kind of a distinction. But we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about what's up in the sky for June. And why June? Why don't we just do this once a year? Well, we're going to see something different every month. So that's why we do it every month, even in the cold winter months. And I can't see a thing except for one star. It's a little bit light, so you might have trouble seeing stuff that's on my screen, so I might have to describe it instead. I've got up in this scene, we're simulating the sky using computer software, which I will talk about later. And one of the things you can see in the middle of the month, in amongst the stars of Virgo, the constellation sign in the zodiac, is a quarter moon coming up, middle of the month. Great time to see craters, details on the moon, even with a small telescope. So with that, let's get started with some space history. In June, on the 30th day of June, a long time ago in 1905, I was a wee toddler back then. Don't believe everything I say. I challenge the audience to interrupt with wisdom, pearls of wisdom, and challenge me because I'll be making stuff up. Um, I wasn't alive in 1905 when Einstein came up with his special theory of relativity. He also later came up with the general theory of relativity, which dealt with gravity. But the special theory was the first thing he came out with, and we celebrate its anniversary this month. The events that I'm going to ask you to, that I'm going to test you on later, so I'll expect you to be taking notes on your iPads, phones, pencil. Anybody know what pencil and paper is still? I remember pencil and paper. It was a long time ago. But if you're not taking notes, that's all right. I'll be reviewing all this information again. So here's what we've got to look forward to. Every month, a couple of phases of the moon, new and full, are important. We'll explain why. We've got some planets that are visible in the morning sky. Tonight, nothing, unfortunately. They're all too close to the sun, but you can see them in the morning. And this is the first talk where I will be including stuff that you see in the early morning, because some of us have to get up early. Anyone in the audience have to get up at 5 for work? Yep. So I'm going to ask you, when you're getting ready to go to work, take a few seconds and see if you can see a close appearance of Jupiter and Mercury on the 4th. And I'm also going to talk about the summer solstice. Solstice? What's sol? S-O-L. The sun, Latin name for the sun. Stice, standing still. The sun stands still on the summer solstice, and we'll show you why. But I'm going to start with an event at the end of the month that you probably can't see because both the moon and Saturn are going to be below the horizon. So what I chose was to show what things look like at 4:10 in the morning, not 12:10. The moon is moving continually around the Earth, right? Once a month. It's actually every 27 days. And it's getting closer and closer to the planet Saturn, and it will occult it. What does occult mean? So audience participation is not punished. Yes. Yes, you, sir. Yes. Other way around, the moon is bigger and closer. Correct. Obstruction. Occult means hide or obstruct. Right, we had a recent, very good, we had a recent solar eclipse. My wife and my dog and I traveled to Watertown, New York to see it. Next one we'll have a chance to see is in South America. And then after that in 2028 in Australia, where I've never been. And in 2023 through the tip of Alaska, if you want to make a trip to where it's nice and cold. But the moon will occult, hide the planet Saturn. The moon is near Mars on June 2nd. It's too bad you really can't see this too well. The ground is down below, and the moon is a crescent, a thicker crescent, approaching Mars on June 2nd. And then by June 3rd, it's on the other side of the moon. Why? Because the moon is moved from the right of Mars to the left of Mars. And this is in the morning sky. So if I'm facing the south, which is that way at Jenny Jump, where does the sun rise in the east? Facing south. East is that way, west is that way. Remember that for later when you're going to look through the telescopes. North is here, south is there. So the moon looks like a thinner crescent. And if you look at it, you will see the dark side of the moon is slightly lit up. There's a poetic name for this, and that's the new moon in the old moon's arms. Very romantic. And where's that light coming from? Why can we see the dark side of the moon? Is it starlight? Sunlight? No. Not Mars is too far away, millions of miles, so the light is not from the planet Mars. It's from a planet with white clouds, very bright white clouds. Yeah, Earth, it's called Earthshine. If you were on the moon, you would see the ground lit up a faint bluish color from the Earth's oceans. Very, very pretty. In the morning, again in the morning, around 5 in the morning, if you like to get up early, look down low, 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 very low in the sky. For the people in the back, I know it's going to be hard to see, but Mercury and the planet Jupiter will be very close to each other. In space, no. Mercury is about 4/10 of the distance of the Earth from the Sun, and Jupiter is about 5 times the Earth-Sun distance. That distance, by the way, has a special yardstick name. I wonder if the young man in the audience who answered my question earlier knows what that is. The distance from Sun to Earth on average is million miles, abbreviated with 2 letters. A period, U period, astronomical unit. So we measure things in the solar system not in miles. Too many. After a while, when you get out to Pluto, it's billions of miles. What's that? We use astronomical units. Thank you. And the moon is also in the sky. Beautiful thin crescent with the 2 planets close to each other. All right, so what about the evening sky? That's more convenient, right? We're all awake. 9 o'clock, I'm going to assume most of us are awake 9 o'clock, 9:30. 9 o'clock, it's still light out in the summer. So I'm going to show you what the sky looks like at 10 o'clock. I know a lot of us will be asleep. Some of you are sleepy right now. My voice is very lulling. It puts my wife to sleep all the time. But we're going to start with phases of the moon, new and full. Early in the month, great time to see faint objects when the moon is new. Doesn't interfere with faint stuff in the sky. You can find the phases of the moon anytime at moongiant.com. I sound like an advertisement for websites, but I'm only giving you reference information. I don't work for any of these people. I just like the site Moon Giant because it's easy to remember, and I'm old, so I need stuff that's easy to remember. Quarter moon on May 30th. By now, you can click the arrow on the website and show different dates. By now, it's a crescent moon, and it's getting smaller, so that's called waning. Waning is smaller, waxing is larger. Is this young man the only one bold enough to say things from the audience? Very shy audience. I am a shy person myself. I sympathize. I grew up very shy, but as the poet Andrei Codrescu used to say, we people are like onions, right? There's a core that never changes. You're shy, but you add layers, and pretty soon you get to be very good at pretending to be bold, and then you become a loudmouth speaker like myself when you're on the final layers. People are like onions.
I believe Shrek also.
Yes.
So, but if you're like Shrek, you also have the obligatory "get out of my swamp."
There you go. So also in Moon Giant, you can print out a great calendar of lunar phases. You can mark the major phases. You can mark how much percentage. There's a lot you can do, but I like to just show the main phases in boxes. June 6th, new moon. June 22nd, full moon. This is a great time to see faint things like the Milky Way, star clouds called nebulae, distant groups of stars like our Milky Way called galaxies, star clusters called clusters, scientific name. Yeah, question from the audience. Yeah, the word nebula means cloud, and when people first started looking at these things in small telescopes, it looked like clouds. In fact, from Jenny Jump, from here, UICNJ, this is one of the few places where you can see a nebula where stars are forming with the unaided eye, which goes by the technical term, we call it the naked eye. Repeat after me, naked eye. I didn't hear people from the back. Naked eye. Thank you. Please remember that. We're going to be using that later. It's very important. So thank you. Yeah, you can actually see the Lagoon Nebula where stars are forming and planets will form someday with the naked eye next to the Milky Way, that way, near the teapot. Check out the teapot later. First quarter moon, great time to see lunar craters. The light from the sun comes raking in as you face south, rakes over the lunar surface at an angle, highlighting mountains which you can see as little lights on the dark side of the moon, near the terminator between light and dark. When I was a kid, I thought they were cities. It's just mountain peaks lit up. And if you like to see that in the morning, you get up early in the morning, look in the south, the light's coming from the rising sun, last quarter moon. We talked about the moon, about planets. What about the solstice? Longest daylight of the year in New Jersey is because the sun has a path through the sky that we call the ecliptic. We can draw it into space. It's the Earth's orbit around the sun. So that's the path the sun takes through the 13 signs of the, who said that? A shy person? Zodiac. I'm looking at you, so I don't know if you said it, but there's no penalty. Yeah, there are did you know? 13 signs, not 12. Ophiuchus is the new one. And look how high it is above the Earth's equator, drawn out into space. Highest point occurs at 4:46 p.m. on the 20th, June 20th. Question. It varies because the sun is moving around the Earth. What moves around what? The Earth moves around the sun, not in a perfect circle, in an ellipse. So that means it's slower, sometimes faster, others when it's close to the sun, and that throws things off. So it could be the 20th, 21st. Yes, yeah, the opposite. Winter, correct, very good. And it's very easy for me to remember this date because it's also my wife's birthday. So how do we simulate the sky? It's going to be hard for you to see anything because it is so light out, but I'm going to give it a try. I'm using a free computer program called Stellarium. You can go to stellarium.org to either download it, stellarium-web.org, so you can run their supercomputers for free, or you can put it on any mobile device, hold it up to the sky, and it will show you exactly what you're looking at, no matter where you place your phone. And even if there are clouds, it'll show you what's behind the clouds. I'll come back to news in a minute. Right now, I want to use Stellarium. Quick question. Last time we gained or lost, now, only within the past 1,000 years or so. So about 5,000 years ago, when astrologers got started, the Earth shifted. The Earth is doing this. Did you know that? Can you feel it? No. It's called precession. The Earth is wobbling like a top. Did you know this? If any of you go to Switzerland, look for the clock that has precession. There's a gear that does this every 25,000 years. 24,772 to be precise. So the Earth wobbles, which means the Earth's equator changes. The Earth's pole changes. We get different pole stars. Vega is going to be our pole star. Tomorrow? No, in 10,000 AD. I won't be around, but some of you. So that means the constellations, the path that the sun goes through the constellations changes too. Right now it zips right through the bottom of the serpent carrier, Ophiuchus. So that's 13 constellations. This is what we see now. Stellarium is simulating the sky in real time. So where are the stars? Well, you're not going to see any. It's too bright. So what we have to do is change the time, which I can do. I can cheat. I can move forward through time. It's amazing what I can do. I am going to, let's see, what time should it be? Right now, oops. 20 minus 12 is? 8, yeah, 8 o'clock. 9 o'clock. 10 o'clock is 22:19. 19 minutes after 10. There are stars on my computer screen, but you can't see them. So this is going to be very difficult. I wonder if I zoom in, can you see the Big Dipper? Yeah, that's not. Did you know the Big Dipper is not a constellation? Nope. Nope. There are as many constellations in the sky. Officially, they made the boundaries in 1930. I wasn't alive then. In 1930, they decided there were going to be the same number of constellations in the sky as there are keys on a piano, because the guy who ran the IAAA, the Internet, the no, not the IAAA, the Astronomical Union, was a piano player. No, I just made all that up. Are there any piano players in the audience? Have you ever counted the keys? 88, correct. You win. What does that young man win, Kim? Oh, great. Excellent. There are 88 constellations, just like the keys on a piano, easy to remember. And the Big Dipper is a piece of the Great Bear. Well, great, thank you. Over the hand up. Thank you, sir. Yeah, that's part of the Great Bear. And very commonly, we think that there are 7 stars in the Big Dipper. There's also a Little Dipper, 7 stars. Well, that's wrong. If you look carefully in the bend of the handle, you see it? Double star. It's an apparent double. Well, they're close in the sky, but they're not close together in space. They're several light years apart. So this is an apparent double star. However, the brighter of the two, this is Alcor. In Stellarium, they name things which we can't see on the screen. This one is Mizar. And if I center Mizar and zoom in, we would see that it's called a spectroscopic binary, where the two components are moving around each other by gravity, held together by gravity. So they're doing an eternal dance that takes hundreds of years. Yes, Native. Very good. This gentleman pointed out Native Americans use that as a penalty. So they asked the people keeping watch at night, all right, all of you, look at this group of stars, the hunters and the bear, brave hunters following the bear. They shot an arrow into the bear. When the bear is low in the sky and fall, it bleeds red on the trees, and that's why we have fall. And how many stars do you see? 7, 7, 7, 8. You've got first duty. The one who could see 8 stars had to stay up all night and watch the campfire. So that's part of the Great Bear. Unfortunately, I can't draw the... Oh, wait, yes, I can. I can cheat. In Stellarium, I can put up lines like you would see on... which you can't see too well. The lines that you would see on a star map, I'm going to recommend that you check in with Kim and see if you can find our star chart, circular star chart that shows you the sky any time of day or year or night. And there you would see the lines that I've drawn, which are very difficult to see. I'm going to have to rethink how we do our next talk for July. Yeah. All right. Well, if you want to know the constellations, best thing to do is familiarize yourself with the north first. Start with the Big and Little Dippers. Look for the W or M, depending on time of year, for the Queen, Cassiopeia. Cassiopeia boasted, my daughter Andromeda is the most beautiful. She's more beautiful than any of the Greek goddesses. And if you know your Greek mythology, that's a big mistake. Because Hera, queen of the gods, extremely jealous, punished Andromeda, chained her to the rocks. Sea serpent would come along, Cetus is in the sky, to eat her. Rescued by Perseus, and the hero is in the sky, riding the flying horse in the sky, holding the head of the Gorgon, Medusa, in the sky. It's all up there in the sky. It's also been in a book in the library for 3,000 years. If you don't know the story, it's your fault. Question? Oh, okay, somebody's stretching in the back. Stretching is allowed. So if you learn those constellations, the King, the Queen, the Big Dipper, Little Dipper, and the dragon between them, then you know where north is. You can then face south and find all the interesting stuff where the zodiac signs are, and that's where you're going to find planets. Now, normally I turn the sky around, which I can do, and show you the direction marks, but I think it's going to be difficult for you to see anything. So what I'm going to do is probably finish my talk early, let you get acclimated to the telescopes, and wait for the real sky to get dark enough to see. And then we're going to have to rethink how we do this. Maybe what I'll do is reverse all the images so it's black stars on a white background. What do you think? That's like a star chart. If you buy star charts, they're usually white background. Then you can read the stars more easily. So I've learned something today. I've learned don't put stuff up that you can't see. But I will point out that if you are facing south, what you want to do each season of the year, there's one main sign that you want to memorize, one main constellation. So in the summer, low in the sky, and only in the summer, because it sets so easily, is the Scorpion, which is named Scorpio is the zodiac name. The scientific name is Scorpius. And what is Scorpius? Scorpion, yes, thank you. See, these people are not shy. Take them as an example. Very good. Don't be shy. There's no such thing as a stupid question, because if you ask the question and you get the answer and you remember, it's not stupid anymore. You know the answer. You learn. I've learned by making a lot of stupid mistakes in my life. I used to learn by taking the center map out of Sky and Telescope magazine, pair of needle, here's a hint, needle nose pliers, open the staples, pull out the map, and then when I was done, I put it back. What a nerd. But we sell star charts here too. So there you go. That's my shameless plug for our store, which Kim will be good enough to show you later. Scorpion in summer, in the next season, which is fall or autumn. You want to look for a falling upside down horse. The flying horse is Pegasus, right, from the legend. Yeah. Well, I don't know. We'll have to check in with the authorities. In the winter, it's a famous hunter, belt of 3 stars, Orion. And in the spring, it has a main sign of Mane with a beautiful mane. Leo is a sign of the zodiac. It is. It has Orion in winter has 2 advantages. First of all, it's got some of the brightest stars in that vicinity of the sky, supergiants, only 1,500 light years away. That's a lot of light years, but they are giant stars. If you brought them here, they would melt the inner solar system. And second reason, the winter sky is more clear. The air is steadier. So great time to see winter stars, to see the colors of stars and star types. This time of year is a great time to see galaxies. If you look straight up towards the North Pole and a little bit off higher, that part of the sky with the hunting dogs, Canis venatici, hunting dogs, and Bernice's hair, Coma berenices, the hair of Bernice, has a lot of galaxies. And why is it good to see galaxies now? Why can't we do it in the winter? Because the Milky Way gets in the way. Our Milky Way is a lot of stray light. And where is it in the summer? That band of light is high overhead in summer, but in spring it's fairly low. If you look perpendicular, what's perpendicular to the Milky Way, which is flat? Perpendicular is 90 degrees, right, just up, opposite direction. That would be up there. It's a great time to see other galaxies. Our galaxy is not in the way. So ask the astronomers here to show you a galaxy tonight, although with the clouds it may be a lot of competition, so they may not be able to. They will show you some bright stars, maybe some double stars. Maybe ask them to see M13 in Hercules. Straight up, Hercules is very high in the sky. I am going to have to leave it there. The star Vega, our pole star in 10,000 AD, about 8,000 years from now, is coming up in the east. I'll be talking more about it when we discuss the summer triangle in What's Up in the which sky? July sky. Thank you, sir. Another person who overcame his shyness. Thank you. And so that's the way stellarium works. You can move things around. You can zoom in and out. You can speed up time. You can watch the moon move through the sky. It's a lot you can do, which unfortunately I can't show you too well this time. If you come back, I promise, in What's Up in July, we will fix that. So what I'm going to do is talk about some news. Did you hear about the aurora? Northern Lights? Anybody see the Northern Lights? Yeah, I missed it. Where I was in Bergen County, it was hazy every night. How many people saw? Wow, quite a few. Excellent. Yeah. Well, that group of sunspots that had the huge flare that created those has gone around to the other side of the sun, but it's coming back. So we're expecting it to come back, and within a week, we have another chance for aurora, and I'm going to get out there every night and see if I can see it. Very, very, very exciting. Stronger than X 2.8 means huge, big, big flare. It's magnetically charged particles. When they hit the Earth, some 18 hours later, they're not traveling at the speed of light, they're slower. They interact with the magnetic poles of the Earth, and the atoms get ionized, electrons get stripped away, but they come back and they give off light energy. That's what we see. It's beautiful. You can check this out at spaceweather.com. Again, I don't work for spaceweather.com. There is an Android version, there is iOS version. Check it out. They will tell you when the aurora are coming. Now, if you want to get started in astronomy inexpensively, you do have something already. What? What? Naked eye, thank you. Remember that because you've got it. You want to use it. When I talk about the meteor shower coming up in August, in the constellation Perseus, they seem to come out. So they're called the Perseids. Perseid meteor shower. That's a big one. Best equipment, the three pieces of equipment you need: naked eye, lawn chair, bug spray. And you lean way back and use your eye to look over the entire sky. That's all you need. I'll be talking about that. But if you want to get started with binoculars, binoculars have a terrific advantage. The smaller ones are not that expensive. Optics are always expensive because it's difficult to figure glass or mirrors accurately. But if you lose interest in looking at the sky, you can go bird watching. You could spy on your neighbors. No, don't do that. If you want to spend a little more money, giant binoculars have come down in price over the last few years. You want to take the first number magnification, like 7x50. What does that mean? 7 power means things are 7 times bigger. 50 is the size of the lens in millimeters, 25.4 to the inch. So that's a little bigger. That's almost 2 inches. It's pretty good, 7 by 50. The cone of light that comes out into your eye, you get by dividing the bigger number by the smaller. So 50 over 7, mathematicians in the audience? So 7, yes, so shy. 7 times, 7 millimeters is the cone of light. Now, when you get to be my age, your pupil doesn't open that much anymore. When you're young, it's about 7. I know because I measured it when I was young. My wife says I'm a nerd. I'm proud to be a nerd or a geek. Take your pick. My pupil is now 5 millimeters, so the light gets cut off. So you're wasting some of the light. So if you were to buy binoculars 20 by 80, that's 80 millimeters. That's pretty big. 3 inches is 75 millimeters. 80 divided by 20 is 4. So all the light gets into your eye. All right, so these do become more expensive the bigger you get in optics. For beginning telescopes, you can buy things that are fairly inexpensive now. Used to be you had to spend $200 to get a nice small telescope. Not anymore. Celestron First Scope, I believe we might have one in the gift shop. Kim can help you with that.
Yes, we do.
Uh-huh.
We also have some smaller binoculars as well.
And then there are Dobsonians, named after Dobson, who invented it. A great economical way to get a lot of light. If you want to see faint objects, you need more aperture, bigger lens or mirror to collect more light. So if you want to see nebulas, nebulas, take your pick, same thing. Or star clusters that are in a globe like M13 and Hercules, straight up tonight. If it's in a globe and it's a cluster of stars, what's the scientific name? Cluster, what kind? Globular, right, globular. You see where they get these names? Scientists, not very bright, not very clever with the names. These can be more expensive, but you get a lot more light. So 8 inches, few $100s, 10-inch, 12-inch. It's amazing. Much less expensive than catadioptric telescopes. Most famous design is the Cassegrain. It has a mirror in the back. Oh, why do I not use my laser here? Mirror in the back, lens in the front. The light comes in, hits the mirror, bounces off a second small mirror, goes through a hole in the back. So the light path is actually like this, even though telescopes like that. Very compact and portable, but more expensive because it takes more work to configure that corrector lens. So there's all different types. I have a Maksutov Cassegrain small one, looks somewhat like that on the right, but it didn't cost thousands of dollars. And that's what it looks like. That's a 3.5-inch using a mirror and a corrector in front. So there's all kinds of scopes that you can buy. There's some very good tips about that you can get at some various sites. I recommend UWACNIDGE. Repeat after me, UWACNIDGE. What does that stand for? United Astronomy Clubs of New Jersey. Right, uwacnidge.org. Sky and Telescope and Astronomy. If you like to read, there aren't many people left who read anymore. It's very sad. But these come in print and online. You can subscribe online, but the free part of online is incredible. A lot of it is free. Lots of good information. Sky and Telescope and Astronomy, they've been in print for decades. And the most easy thing, if you forget everything I've said tonight, everything, space.com is kind of easy to remember. And they've got search for life, space flight, latest news on space flight, what's up to observe, all kinds of stuff. I mentioned mobile versions of the things that we were using. Stellarium is in there. There's dozens of apps, and they're all free, by the way. I've used Stellarium. I've used Skyview. Those are pretty intuitive, easy to use. Some of them are more sophisticated, the highly rated, like PhotoPills. Whoops, sorry. PhotoPills, if you're interested in astrophotography. Some of these things do some processing. It's better to do the processing on a computer, on a laptop, on a tablet, rather than on a mobile device or a phone, but you could. You could do some. Very sophisticated. So I recommend you get your hands on this stuff. It's free, and it's fun. And then Stellarium I talked about before. Again, 3 ways to get it. You can download it, install it. You can just run it off their website, web.org. You can put it on a mobile device, Stellarium Mobile. And if you want to fly through space, which since we have time we could do, we could go see the second place in only 2 places in the solar system where you can see the rings of Saturn open. They disappear every 14 years. Saturn goes around the sun 29 years. Half of that, they disappear, they reappear, they disappear, they reappear. It does this. And it is going to disappear in just a few months. You will not see the rings. Why? They're 170,000 miles across. Why can't we see them? They're huge. The ball of Saturn is 9 Earths across. You can put 9 Earths across Saturn. It's a giant planet made of gas, so it's called a gas giant, right? So why can't we see the rings? It's because they're 10 meters thick, 30 feet. Incredibly thin compared to their size. I once made a model of Saturn this big. I airbrushed paint on plexiglass to simulate the rings. The paint specks that are invisible to my eye were still too thick to be the right scale. That's how thin they are. One of the thinnest things in nature and relative to their overall width. So the rings of Saturn. Why don't we try? You want to try that? Why don't we go visit the place where you can see the rings of Saturn open? One of them is a planet you're very familiar with, Earth, right? But there is another body, and only one, in the solar system where it would be a great place to put a hotel. So I'm going to run Celestia. Did you see the moth on the screen? I've got one that just landed on the computer. Yeah, right there. Right there. Extraterrestrial. This is a free program, Celestia, and you can move around planets. What are those lights on the dark side? What are those lights on Europe? Cities, yeah, light pollution. Yep, I am going to I'm going to turn off the orbits. And I'm going to look for, whoops, I didn't turn off the orbits. And I'm going to look for Saturn. I can go to Saturn like this, I can browse. But instead of that, I'm going to go directly to one of the moons, which is called Iapetus, named for in Greek mythology. This is the moon Iapetus. It's bizarre. It's actually not correctly shaped here. It's shaped like a walnut, has a giant ridge down the middle. They're not quite sure how that built up, but if I were to move around like this, I would see the sun, and I would look for, where is it? Whoa. Select Saturn. Show me Saturn. Oh, well, I didn't want to do that. Oh, it's behind. What do you know? Well, I'm going to cheat and turn the orbits back on. Planets and moons. That's the sun, and there is Saturn, and make it a little bigger. Oh, and occasionally, and it looks like I caught it at a bad time, occasionally Iapetus passes through the plane of Saturn's equator where the rings are, and they disappear too. So the other place where you could see the rings of Saturn open, great place for a hotel, is one of the moons of Saturn. You can visit the Earth's moon and see an eclipse of the sun by the Earth. If you did that, you would see light going all the way around the Earth, even with the sun behind the Earth. Why? What's bringing the light to the front? What around the Earth refracts light? Not the sun. The atmosphere of Earth bends the light of the sun around. So during an eclipse of the sun on the moon, the Earth, you would see the atmosphere of Earth lit up. Very cool. That is celestial. You can do a lot more with it. But right now, what I'm going to do is review. Right, early in the month, get out there early, 5 a.m. You'll see the moon near Mars. You'll see Jupiter and Mercury making a nice display on the 4th. And then new moon early, great to get those telescopes out to look for faint stuff like galaxies. Summer solstice on June 20th, longest daylight of the year. And the full moon just ruins, the strawberry moon ruins the night sky for faint objects at the end of the month. Oh, I forgot to mention there is an extraordinary event that can happen anytime between now and September. There is a nova about to happen. And nova means new. Nova, literally new. New star. There is a double star system, a white dwarf eating material falling into it from a red giant. And it builds up on a disk called an accretion disk. And every once in a while, the buildup is so intense that a piece explodes. And we saw this happen in the past with hints. Several years before it dims, it brightens. And then just before it's to happen, within a month or so, it dims again. This happened in 1946. It's happened again this year. We expect to see that sometime between now and September. And we're going to look in the crown next to Hercules. So this summer, facing south, look straight up for the letter H for Hercules. Look for the crown, shaped like a crown next to it. The star right there in the red circle is going to be as bright. Right now it's invisible to the eye. It's going to brighten 8 magnitudes. Every 5 magnitudes is 100 times brighter. This thing will be something like 600 times brighter or more, and it will rival the other stars in the crown. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There'll be an eighth one, and it's called T. Very hard to remember name T in Corona. So astronomers call it T Corona Borealis. Don't miss it. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. You can find me here. This is my email. My website, astronomyinmotion.com, has free three-dimensional planets that you can play with your fingers or a pointing device, mouse, any kind of pointing device. Mars at Your Fingertips is for sale. That's a 3D model of Mars with narrated videos narrated by my wife. Haven't paid her for it. Shame on me. And the free version in HD, absolutely free. You can try that out first. So with that, I want to say you've been a very good audience, even though the screen hasn't cooperated. I hope you get out there and look at the real sky and use your naked eye. Thank you very much. Come on back.
All right. Thank you, Lonnie. Thank you, everyone. So we are going to be doing a question and answer session. But before that, I saw a number of you sneak in during the presentation, and therefore you also need the safety briefing. When we go to leave, it will be likely dark. Use your headlights. I don't want to get run over. I don't want to see people run over. I don't want to fill paperwork out about people getting run over. We good on that? Perfect. If you need the restroom, that is the porta potty in the back to my left, your right. It is illuminated by red to make it easier to find when it gets dark and also to be able to see a bit when it gets dark. We also have a little museum and gift shop area that after a question and answer, I'll be in there to answer any questions as well as if you desire any fun swag. For our online peeps, since you obviously cannot visit our lovely museum and gift shop area, you could go to our online store, which has online exclusive merchandise and swag. Ooh, when we are walking around, people here, if we have flashlights, because we don't want to trip over them, just keep those pointed towards the ground and don't shine them in people's eyes, because you don't want that done to you, so don't do that to other people. All right, with that, our question and answer is going to answer like this. For the people here, you're going to raise your hand and wave it about like you just don't care, because I am slightly night blind. That sounded crunchy. I don't want to know why that car sounded crunchy. Moving on. For the people online, you have it easy. You just get to type in chat. So we're going to start it off with the first online question. And where'd it go? Did we miss the supernova that was supposed to be visible in the Corona Borealis? I think we just went over this.
No, that's a good question. We didn't miss it. It's not a supernova, which is different. This is just a plain old nova where gas from one star hits another and it brightens. But no, that's we're expecting that sometime this year. So keep an eye out. I'm sure it'll be on the regular news.
Yeah, and one of the astrophotographers who also streams on Twitch said they were looking at it last night, and it's still not nova yet, but soon. All right, I saw a hand up over here.
So the Borealis thing, the T Corona Borealis, is that like supposed to happen from now in September, or like are we gonna like see it in a special? Is like there a special month that they've already decided when?
No, that's a very good question. There's no special time because we don't know. There's no way to know exactly when it will happen. We just have a trigger event that shows that it's coming. So the best they can do is say within the next few months. But you'll hear about it. Every telescope in the world is going to be trained on that star to catch it in ultraviolet, in infrared from the James Webb Space Telescope, from the Hubble, from ground-based, from space, everywhere. Because they can get a lot of information now that we couldn't do before, where it was only optical. Now we can learn much more about how this system works by studying all those different energies. Good question.
All right, another question right here.
When it does burst, how bright will it be? But how long will that brightness be? Will it be for an hour or for days, or?
It should be on the order of. It could be a matter of a day. Let's see, how long did it last in the past? I don't have a graph, but my recollection is more than hours, probably on the order of days, and then it'll fade to invisibility again. It's going from 10th magnitude currently to second. Each step is the fifth root of 100, about 2.52 times. So 8, let's see, 10 minus 2 is 8, 5 and 3 is 8. So it's 100 times, and then 3 steps, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5 is roughly about 8. So I'm thinking 800 times brighter. So it's a logarithmic scale. It's kind of hard to go by amount of times, so that's why we use magnitudes. The human eye can see down to 5th magnitude. 2nd magnitude looks like the stars in Cassiopeia. So it'll be visible to the naked eye for the first time and this is every 80 years this happens. So don't expect to see it again. You want to see it now.
All right. So our next online question, and I think this was they got off topic when I mentioned Shrek in the Swamp. Are there any other space objects besides Draco named after monsters? And a couple people in chat were going off on various ones, but which ones do you know?
There's Hydra, the sea snake. There's Cetus, Cetus the monster from the Perseus Andromeda legend, right? He had to defeat that. No, that was the creature that threatened Andromeda, who was chained to the rocks because her mother opened her big mouth and said that Andromeda was more beautiful than Hera. You don't do that. You can say they're more beautiful than Venus, but please never compare yourself to Hera. Very jealous person. So those are the two I know of as far as monsters. Oh, and then there's the Gorgon, the eye star, Algol in Perseus. Winks at us every few days. It's an eclipsing binary. One star passes in front of another.
Yep. And our online person who is much better at astrophotography than me provided the Chinese Dragon Nebula, the Witch Head Nebula. There's a dark nebula in Puppis that apparently looks like the sandworm out of Dune.
Ooh.
The Shark Head Nebula and the Croc Eye Galaxy. So, if anyone else was curious about fun monsters or creatures in the sky, also check out Stellarium. There's probably a list in there somewhere. All right, was there another question out here? I hear a lot of crickets. All right. So
it may be the audience hasn't gotten over their shyness.
Sorry, people were going on about the the various monsters and creatures, so I'm like scrolling a bit.
All right.
All right. And someone asked, how is it the summer solstice already?
Oh, June 20th is coming up fast. So you notice the daylight amount gets longer and longer, and after that, shorter and shorter. So the sun appears to rise and sink through the sky. It's because the Earth is tilted to the plane of its orbit around the sun. We're not going up and down like this, like Jupiter. Jupiter's tipped only 3 degrees. Earth is 23.4. Like Mars. Mars is similar. I see a question, Kim.
Oh, perfect.
So you said the T Borealis, the T Corona Borealis is a simple nova, but like, do you know when that next supernova is gonna be there?
Nobody knows when the next supernova is going to happen. I mean, they can calculate probabilities. One goes off in our galaxy every so often, but there's no way to tell when that's going to happen. And when it does happen, it's not happening now. It happened in the past because it's taking light up to thousands of years to reach us. So unfortunately, I have to say we don't know when that will happen.
Right. Someone had asked, what is going on? Because there were thanks for the subs in the online chat. And that is a Twitch feature where people can support monetarily by subscribing to the channel. But you can help us completely free by liking and pressing the like and follow buttons in either YouTube or Twitch. But some people were very gracious and did paid subscriptions and donations through that app.
Yep, you can see that we are everywhere on the screen.
Yeah, and my phone chat died, so I'm
Oops.
going to periodically run back to chat. I think I saw another hand up out here. Perfect. Hold on.
So there is a planet parade happening on June 3rd. Do we have any special time to view, and do we have to see from any special place, or can it be visible in any place?
Are you talking about the planets that I talked about in the
Yeah,
morning?
the arrangement of planets
Oh
in the
yes, yeah. You would need to look in the morning sky just before the sun comes up, before it gets too bright. So that's why I picked 4 or 5 a.m. 4:55. Yeah, after as the sun rises, it's going to quickly blot out the stars. The planets a little bit easier to find. Did you know you can actually find planets in the daytime? It's the best time to view the planet Mercury is while the sun is up. You have to block the sun with a special mask, but no, other than before it gets too light is what I would say in the morning. So you'll see the crescent moon and Mars and Jupiter and Mercury. Very nice. It's unfortunate none of those are in the current sky, the night sky, but Jupiter will be coming back later on in the summer, later on at night. Again, if you stay up late, or let's say you stay up all night, you can watch those planets that would normally be seen in the opposite side of the year, not in summer but in winter, coming up. So that's a good question. It's just generally morning before it's light.
All right. Do get those questions in online chat. Just because I know I'm running a little short on online questions. But the next online question is, what is a feature you wish Stellarium had but it doesn't?
Ooh, what would I like it to do? I would like Stellarium to identify what you're looking at. I've been able to zoom in to see galaxies in near Coma Berenices. If you look near the Big Dipper, you'll find those, or you can ask our amateur astronomers to show you. But there's no way to tell what you're looking at. If you put in the search, I want to find the Black Eye Galaxy, M64. Beautiful. Looks like somebody punched the galaxy. It's got a black mark under part of it. It's tipped to us a little bit, and there's dark lanes of dust that make it look like an eye. If you put in M64 in search, it will find it and show it to you. If you find it by accident and click on it, nothing happens. So one feature I'd like is click on something and it identifies it immediately. It does that for stars, but it doesn't do it for the images that they put in Stellarium. Good question.
All right. Are you raising your hand or just fighting off the mosquitoes that are trying to carry you off? Yeah. After a while, you do need the bug spray.
Like about a half year ago, I was watching this thing, like this channel on YouTube, and a couple of them, they were waiting for Betelgeuse to supernova, and then that faded out. Is that the next guy that might?
Yeah. Oh, that's a great question. If you didn't hear, is Betelgeuse in Orion, the winter constellation, going to go supernova? It may. It seems to be either an unstable star or one that's surrounded with a regular cloud of material that occasionally gets in front of it and causes it to dim. Several years ago that happened. Betelgeuse dimmed prominently, abruptly. Very, very surprising. We didn't expect that. And so they believe that the star itself is somewhat unstable. It could go supernova. I think the estimate was anywhere from within the next 10 years to the next 10,000 years. So it's one of those things. It's kind of like the San Andreas Fault. When is that going to go? We don't know. Could be tomorrow, could be 100 years from now. Yeah, if it does go supernova, it's far enough away at more than 500 light years, I believe, on that order, that should not be a danger. That's a very good question. That may be the supernova to watch for, except it could happen not in our lifetimes.
All right. I have an actual question. You mentioned that one of the things is just a regular nova versus a supernova. What is the difference between the two?
Here's the difference. A supernova is a single supermassive star that runs out of its nuclear fuel, converting hydrogen to helium. The star collapses in on itself and then implodes as the layers hit. And then the thing gives off enough energy, the same amount of energy as an entire galaxy of stars, billions. It's incredible. Usually novas, certain types of novas, are double stars like this, where one star is orbiting another, and it's sucking material off of the star at a gravitationally stable point in between. So that material ends up forming a disk called the collect, the accretion disk. And then if enough material comes off the star and too much is built up around the smaller star, it can cause a new nuclear reaction that flares, that is extremely bright. And so that's a particular type. There are several types of nova as well as several types of supernova. But novas are much less violent events than supernovas. Still violent enough for us to see it from how far away is this? I don't know the distance, but it's got to be on the order of hundreds of light years. Yeah, so look for it. Don't miss it.
Yep. If last call for questions for our online chat, I just put that out there now, just for the fact that by the time you hear this, we're already a couple minutes into the future. So they're living in the past, we're living in the now. Was there another question out here? Was that a hand I saw in the back, or? Nope, another person fighting off the mosquitoes. So I want to thank you all for coming. Each of those sheds you saw when you came in with the roll-off roofs, each houses its own telescope. So do be mindful of our volunteers. Ask them what they have currently viewing through their telescope eyepieces. Do be careful. Like I said, we are using our headlights when we're going to leave. We are keeping our flashlights pointed down because we don't want to accidentally blind people. Porta potty if you need to use the bathroom. Do check out our website, uacnj.org. It's a great way to find out about our member clubs. And an excellent way to get started on your journey in amateur astronomy, or maybe professional if you choose that route. You can also check out our social media, our Facebook, our Instagram, our Discord channels, all great ways to get in contact with us, as well as ask any questions or share your pictures if you start getting into doing astrophotography. And let me just do one last check of our online chat.
And while Kim's doing that, don't forget we do talks on other topics as well every Saturday. And it's free, so come on back.
All right. With that, thank you, Lonnie. Thank you, people who have joined us here and online. And with that, clear skies and good seeing. Until next time.
Thank you.